Hello, hello, and welcome to another Shack stream. This is TJ Denzer, news editor for Shacknews, and I am joined today by Bad Minions developer, creative director, and co-founder Leo Patelli. We're here to talk about Alchemist Adventure, which is being created by Bad Minions and Leo over there. This is an interesting looking dungeon crawler in which you employ a lot of different experimentation elements. You craft potions kind of on the fly in this game as you need to defeat enemies and solve puzzles. And it's in Steam on early access right now. About a little more than four chapters done. Thank you for joining us, Leo.
Hi TJ, thank you so much for having me here today. We are very excited with the release of the game, and I think it's probably one of our dream come true. To be able to show the game at this point. We started developing 6 years ago, and it's been quite fun to do it.
And you just arrived in Steam on early access back in June, so it's been a
That's right.
couple months since then. But what has it been like making that first major milestone of like an early edition of the game for people to actually go out and play?
Yeah, we have been developing for 6 years, so we felt that we needed to feel how players going to react before the release. And it has been great. Players have been very receptive towards the game. They have a lot of feedback and opinions. They can tell us, oh, I think we you could do that in the game, and it has been a pretty exciting experience to have the game in early access, and it helped us a lot to understand some of the mechanics and what player were expecting about the game. We did the first part was just a little taste about the game. You could play for a few hours and see the alchemy system and try on some enemies and the environment. And the second update was a little more into the puzzle system, and
Mhm.
we are trying to the third update is quite close, and we are going to make you have more freedom to explore and try different things, and especially try in the environment and some enemies and try different tactics. And for the fourth update we are going to have this uh, focus on the story. It
Mhm.
was a concern because we were unsure. It's a game based on a story. If you look at the games on early access, they are about mechanic, and but we felt that since we could separate the story and the mechanic in chapters, you get the most of the story by the end. Uh, it could be an interesting thing to try.
So I've given a little bit of what this game is about, but I'm sure people would want to hear it from the creator himself. Can you tell us a little bit about Alchemist Adventure's story and what the gameplay is about in this game?
Yeah, back 6 years ago, we were playing games, like RPG games. I'm a PC player, and I was playing like Dragon Age Inquisition, The Witcher 2, and this kind of games. And it felt like the alchemy system was like dough. You get a lot of ingredients. There are recipes, and you make the potion. You combine these ingredients to use one time, and you spend all this time, a lot of time to make the potions, and they don't usually do much. And we were talking about it. Philip, the other co-founder of Bad Minions, was really excited about Full Metal Alchemist. I don't know if you guys watched it, but it's a Japanese animation about alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
It has I think it has a live action on Netflix, a film on Netflix, and he was really really excited about it, and he decided to make a game about alchemy. And every day we go to work, and he said, oh, I want to make about a game about alchemy, a game about alchemy. And we try to we were seeing these games with this alchemy system. The alchemy like an explored science, an explored game feature, and and could be so much more inside the game, like the team. And we decided to make a game that alchemy was the center, the core of the whole experience. So if you make a potion to fight enemies, the same potion you could use to interact with the environment. And for example, can make an ice potion to freeze enemy, but you also can make an ice bridge across a lake with the same potion. And you also can drink the same potion and have like a ice protection, you know. And it was really something, a concept that we liked. That concept that the imagine like an alchemist in the middle, facing a tough creature, a huge enemy coming in his direction. And we were thinking, oh, it's so cool if it's like a smart guy doing, trying different things and uh, whatever he had in hand, and trying to make a different potion, and trying to survive that situation. That was the feeling we are trying to achieve with the game. And so in oh, go
Oh
ahead.
no, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we try to we try to make this potion system where you can combine anything you collect. But we felt that we needed another layer, and there's a lot of games that can combine ingredients. I think you guys have played Magica probably, and other uh, ingredient combination, element combination games uh, some adventure and RPG games out there. And we try to add another layer to that. So we have the flasks. So you can combine like fire and air and get like lightning. But
Hmm.
the if you use a different flask, if you use like the test tube, if you use another flask than that, you get like a barrier. If you use the test tube, you get a frontal attack, a very fast attack. If you use like the round one, you get an explosion. So you can really make the potion the way you like it. Um, it's all centered in that, even the puzzle solving. So the flask has a different part in that too. And our intention was not to have recipes. You can't, you don't won't find like a healing potion. You will have to make the healing potion, combine the ingredients, and find out what are the best mixtures.
Yeah, like that's an interesting thing you bring up. Like in a game like Witcher, when it comes to alchemy, you kind of craft. Once you figure out a potion, you kind of just craft that one potion. It does that one thing, and then you just don't really mess with that ever again. I mean, you use it obviously if you need it, but you don't really change anything about it. In this game, like from what I played, you don't have to change things, but situations sometimes demand that you do different things with a potion. Like I found that solving certain puzzles required me to lessen the strength of a potion to lower the cooldown. Whereas, getting rid of a large group of enemies would require me to would like if I wanted to do that efficiently, sometimes I would have to make a stronger, better potion to like hit them all at once at the risk of being on cooldown for a longer period of time. What was it like coming up with this system? And like, how did you determine the boundaries, the most complex it could get, as well as the option to keep it, as well as the option to choose to keep things simple for the sake of shorter cooldowns and quicker use?
Yeah, it was. We did a lot of testing. The first time we did the game, it was a few weeks earlier than when we started developing and testing the system. It was a few weeks before the first indie showcase we had here in my city, Brasilia, and we tried to show the game at this event. It was in a bar, a lot of indie developers, and we realized that they liked the idea of combining ingredients and the flask, the flask layer as well. And the thing is, it's a very difficult system to balance and to create. So we started testing every event we could. Like every month, every 2 months, we were testing with players that didn't know anything about the game, and it was a really cool experience. And they also gave ideas like, oh, why this potion can do this and can do that. At first we tried like a scientific approach, like based on real alchemy, and you could increase the power of the bombs with some specific ingredients. But we realized that there was a lot of misconception there, and people would fell into traps, like they are really not understanding the science, and uh, they were trying to do things that doesn't make a lot of sense in a way. And then we tried a different approach, like making the system more connected to what we know about, or what we think we know about alchemy, and a little about combination. Some we try to feel like if you combine air and water, what comes to mind? Like ice. And the balance was definitely a concern. The game balancing. If you have this insane powerful potions that you could use and end up combat pretty quickly, it could be not very fun. But we try to we try to compensate this in how easy it is to find some certain ingredients, and how rare some ingredients are. For example, if you want to make a extremely good potion, healing potion, you can use like albedo and gold, but they are both so rare. You will think twice before using them, and that's how we try to compensate this. At the same time, we don't want to. It's fun. I think it's so fun. It's pretty. It can be a very enjoyable experience when you have a system and you try to break it. When you try to understand it, how it works, and you're trying to make um, you can come up with something you think the developer never thought about it. So if you can make like this huge bomb with a lot of damage, that could be fun. And we try to not let to avoid the players. Uh, we try to make the players can have this experience. They can try different. They can try different potions. They can do their own potions and try to make this insanely powerful potions. But there is a ingredient a fee that you have to pay for per se. So I think that's how we try to balance the system, and we did a lot of testing. A lot of testing. The game has been testing for. Beside the events, we have been testing the game for like a year, and doing fixes to the balancing system. The balancings. So I think if the players have some feedback about this, about the how is the difficulty, and and the ingredients as well. So we try to adjust it, and we take a look and try to adjust it. But honestly, the I think when we are at the studio trying the game, I think it's a very very fun experience. I see the QA guys playing it, and they do some insane stuff. It's pretty fun. Uh, because we try to make each ingredient, each element has a different unique effect.
Hmm.
And you like fire can burn an enemy, lightning can kill it, uh, wind can push it, you know. And when you try these things in different in different ways, this is very incredible to see.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is how we came up with this system. Try to balance it. Sorry, it was too long.
No, no problem. I will say there also seems to be a little bit of a almost a Diablo style dungeon crawler aspect here. You spoke to things like Full Metal Alchemist and The Witcher and Magica as some influences. What influenced the sort of top down? I would say I don't almost arena esque combat and like the land traversal in this game, as far as like the way that you see the game and the way you interact with it.
Yeah, that there's definitely a Diablo influence there. I've played Diablo back in the the I think it's 2002. I think I play a lot of Diablo 2, 2002, 2003, I think. And we have this huge influence. We try not to make like a hack and slashing game, you know, like smashing buttons and things like that,
Hmm.
because in our vision, it's like the alchemist is a scientist. He's kind of, or she's kind of fragile, and she has to be careful, and you have to think a little about the combat, you know, like oh, I will use the sword now, and then I will roll, and then I will try to use a fire potion, and then I will use a air potion to push the enemies, you know, like a combat that you could think a little more, you know.
Hmm.
That was something we tried to do. There were a lot of influence. A 6 year game, there's a lot of influence, and it's our first big title, so we try to put everything we liked in it. So there's a lot of Zelda influence, Diablo influence as well. The Witcher has a certain influence in there too, and especially in the story, people don't know a lot about the story because we try to separate because of the early access. But there's influence about the some especially some dramatic games like that Dragon Cancer. I saw a GDC talk of one of the developers that were the parents of the kid, and it was very moving. And there's a lot of influence that too, you know. We try to make I don't know, when you talk about alchemy, there's a philosophic sense, there's a philosophic aspect of it, and we try to bring that to the game as well, you know.
Hmm.
It's in a different in a different how can I say, it's in a different level. It's not the core of the game, but it's there, and I really hope players enjoy that. And but the it, I'm actually crazy to see how players going to react about the story and the gameplay together. You played a little bit, and you saw how the system can be um, can be deep, you know.
Hmm. And speaking of story, I do want to talk about that. Like in in a lot of games and specifically RPGs, we see the alchemist sort of treated as a simple class with pretty
Yeah.
harmless or toothless implications. It's just another magic user. Alchemist Adventure goes right into sort of a heady angle of how dangerous these individuals are in this particular world. Like like one of the things that stood out to me right from the get go is if you meet it tells you right up, if you meet an alchemist, run. And I want to know what inspired the darker approach to Alchemist Adventure's core individuals. Did they did the alchemist come first in your narrative, or did you build this world at war, which may have influenced their considerable effect on it?
Yeah, we are from Brazil. That's my English is not so that great, but we are from Brazil. Brazil has a troublesome scenario for the last 20, 30 years. You know, sometimes you think, oh, Brazil is doing great, and then you see all these politicians getting arrested, and you think, oh, that's not so great. So in a way, we have this. For us, we can see how power can corrupt even our best idols and that are symbol of honesty. And when we think about that, uh, we, we have this image, the power corrupts, and we were thinking about a image that, so knowledge in a certain way is power. If
Hmm.
you are in a world that's pretty dominated by science, you if you have this knowledge, you have power. You can do stuff that other people can't do, don't have the opportunity to do, and you will have power because of that. And this power eventually will transform your way of thinking. And we have also the influence of the potion drinking on the alchemists as well. So a lot of alchemists of the old days, they went insane because they tried different elements like sulfur, and they were drinking this stuff, you know. So it's common to this in this universe, the alchemists lose their mind, and you have all this together: the knowledge, the power, and the and this environment is especially uh, inspired by science, because we imagine like the world, the continent is like a place where we have all these science fields, and they are isolated by geography, you know. uh,
Hmm.
since you have like this big desert in the middle, you can't reach other regions that easily. And in the south, we have the alchemy, but we have other regions like with engineering and mechanics and biology and navigation. And we decided to focus on this region that had alchemy. And I think it was pretty interesting. I'm not very optimistic person. I'm every time I write, I have this drama and this kind of heavy stuff to put it. And I think that all goes to the alchemy, and the feeling that you have when you saw an alchemist, you have to run and be careful of power and knowledge, you know. I think but it's a reflex of the Brazilian environment, I think the world as a whole.
And like on the lighter side of things, you go as you go through this game, you eventually gain the aid of a homunculus who aids you in both combat and exploration throughout the game. Um, it quickly becomes apparent that like you need this creature to help you reach things that you normally wouldn't be able to reach if on your own. What went into crafting this companion and the additional gameplay mechanics associated with it?
um yeah, I was talking to a friend. It was like a few years ago. I was talking to a friend, and he was really excited about a game. He was going to beat it, the game, one night. And I asked him how he felt about the ending, and he said to me, "Oh, I wasn't able to play. A cousin was here. My cousin was here, and I was not able to play it." And another friend had the same experience. Her girlfriend was there, and we were thinking like, okay, so we have this game. It's a story experience, and it's pretty it's a shame we cannot share this with other persons, especially people who sometimes visit us. You want to show a game and then you are playing it and the people are watching, you know. And we are thinking like, oh, we can have this co-op, local co-op, and the person can just plug the controller and play with you, and play together with you. He doesn't know. He doesn't have to know a lot about the game. He will be able to help and to have fun, and that's how the idea came up, to have this system where anytime you want, another player, another friend can join. And it was it was very recently that we decided to let the first player has the control of the have the control of the homunculus as well. So the homunculus has this part in the game right now that can it receives the ingredients from the alchemist. If he use fires on if Mia, the main character, use fires at the homunculus, the homunculus will gain the firepower, and we were able to burn things, solve puzzles for her. And the homunculus also can fly to different regions, to fly to get some item that the alchemist can't. And I think it's a different, a very interesting aspect. We had a lot of influence of Lego games there, Lego games, I think you're calling English, Lego games there, and where you can swap the controller of the player, and you also can play together with a friend, and share the power.
Yeah, and like for almost everything in this game starts very simple and then gets increasingly complex as you like blend elements, you blend ingredients, you we talked about the flasks, you add the homunculus to that. Um what went into making sure that players are guided into this system and making sure that they aren't overwhelmed by the sheer depth of options that they can access?
Yeah, we try to make a system that could benefit both players. If you want to play like mixturing just the elements, air, water, earth, if you want to do just that and try some flasks, that's okay. You can do it. But if you want a deep experience, if you want to play the if you want to understand and break the system, you can also do that. And so we have like the bells. Not all the bells are not something that you are required to do, but they are challenges. So if you want to beat the bell challenges, you have to use almost all your knowledge about the system, because they are very tough. We put some difficult enemies there. Some maybe if you advance a little more, you are able to beat it in the to defeat them in the in the to defeat them. But if you want to defeat it at any time, you have to use some of the knowledge on alchemy.
Nice. And like, and speaking of that, like alchemy, we mentioned it a little bit, but alchemy isn't just used for combat in this game. There is a lot of puzzle solving. Like there's areas where you'll come up against a certain obstacle that will not budge under the elements that you have, but you might come back later with an element that will move that or destroy it. Such as like these walls. There were these walls in a village in the game where I didn't they were indestructible with fire, whereas I had been burning wood walls before that. But once I got my hands on an air element, these walls could then be shoved out of the way. Um, what went into the puzzle design of Alchemist Adventure and making this sort of, I would say, almost, if you know the term, a sort of Metroidvania aspect to it?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that is this feeling, you know. I love. I personally love adventure games. I think that there is something good about it, that you feel that you're getting stronger and having access to new stuff. You have access to somehow you learn to use air, and then you can access places that you weren't able before. And I think a lot of games do that very well. And like Zelda is great at that area. And we were inspired a lot by that. And we try, to be honest, we try a very different approach at the beginning. We were doing puzzles like mini games, like if you remember, like Mass Effect, you have all these mini games, or Fallout, you have all these mini games that you that you try to solve. And we were like, oh, this is an alchemy game, maybe we should do something about with the core system. We need to use the alchemy to do stuff. For example, we kid a lot in the story that alchemists don't know how to open doors. You have to burn them. And this is something we wanted, that thing that you had to pull a lever, or I don't know, press a button or try that. That's something that was um, leading us far from the experience we wanted. And then we started doing at the beginning start with the environmental interactions. We were like, oh, we have this water in the ground, it would be very cool to use electricity in it to use against the enemies. And then that escalated very quickly. We were changing all the puzzles we had to make compatible with the alchemy system. And when we saw it, it was a huge huge playground where you can try your potions and push blocks and make earth platforms and freeze the water, raise the water level, lower the water level. So it was pretty fun to do it. And it was very different for us. It was a very different experience, you know. um, if at the beginning you don't have that too much, because we want you to learn a little about the alchemy and how to use to against enemies. There's a little there. You can use fire to burn a lot of things and air to push. But as you progress in the game, there's a lot more, and and it's pretty fun. You know, I really love this system, and we want to keep improving it.
Yeah, and like, I mean, we want to talk about the implications, just like applying this alchemist system throughout the game. Like that puzzle solving mechanic is almost also in combat as well.
So
I was surprised to find when I came up against like an armadillo esque monster that I was having trouble fighting this thing, and then I put on the air element, and
yeah,
as it was rolling at me, I hit it with the air element, and it launched it up into the air and made it flop on its back, and I could just wail on it. And I was like, I was delighted to see that. Like, I was almost like I had cracked a puzzle that I had not even known was in front of me. And like,
yeah.
how did you go about like intertwining that sort of puzzle solving into combat as well?
Yeah, that's a funny thing. I'll be honest. When we started the game, it was like we were doing this really, really huge game. You know, like 60 enemies, 200 NPCs. I don't know. I think it was 30 dungeons, and it was huge. You know, and at some point we needed to talk to some investors, and then I need to make a plan about the game. And when I showed to the investors, they like it, but it was for us. It was like, oh, this game felt like any other, you know. It's like another game that's already on Steam. And then we decided to cut a lot of things in the game and focus on the alchemy system. And then we start imagining how things could interact with this system. So how can you solve a puzzle with this? How can you use this system to fight enemies? And then every enemy we try to design was like that. So if you fight I don't know, rhino plants, you can use fire on the poison to make it burn, and it will help to fight it, you know. And you can use the air against the armadillo to turn it on its back, and you can hit it with the sword. And we try to do this kind of things, and we incorporated that on the enemies design as well as the environment and the enemies and the puzzles. We try to do everything. When we had to plan something, we try to use the alchemy system. Oh, what can we do with this with the aspect of this enemy using the alchemy system, you know. And we try to balance that uh, using you know, there's a lot that we are using to mud the fire potion. Now let's try the mud potion. If you find out how to use the mud potion against an enemy, I think that's that's the most the biggest reward I think we can get, because it's a tough enemy and you have to use the mud potion. I want to see if the players can find out how to fight this enemy. I won't tell which enemy is, but it was pretty fun, you know, to do that. We have these insane ideas, these crazy ideas, and try. Uh, we come up with plugging inside the game, we can do the enemies pretty quick and try these different ideas. It was very fun to make this game.
Yeah, like there are boss fights in this game, and there was one in particular, and I'm not going to spoil what happens in it, but I just felt like it was after the series of puzzles that like slowly taught me what I was going to be doing. And then by the time I got to that boss, the way that the puzzles that I had solved before and the interactions with the boss came together, it was kind of incredible to see just like how much the game had taught me for leading up to this boss fight.
Oh, I'm very happy to hear that. Yeah, we tried that with every boss. I was honestly I was fixing the last boss fight today. I was trying uh, to to have the whole experience with it. And we try that, right? You know, like you have the dungeon, and the dungeon will teach you some aspect how to fight the next boss, and or how to have these interactions from that point on with the environment and with enemies to try to teach you some new stuff. You know, I think it's awesome to hear that. I really hope you like the battle.
Yeah. And Alchemist Adventure is currently in early access, and if you look at the page right now, since launch, y'all have talked about doing stuff on what you were hoping to do a 2 month schedule. Can you talk about the development roadmap of the game? Like, what can players expect leading up to release day?
Sure. The game, the first two stages of the early access were out. They were already released. We released the first one. It was more about the system to players get familiar to the system. The second one, we put a lot of more ingredients. So if players buy right now on Steam, we have this the complete alchemy system. You get another flask. You get more interactions like air and water, and it's pretty interesting. For the next part, it will come out I think in a few weeks, and you will be able to experience a lot of freedom and try the system on different environments and different puzzles, different enemies. And for the last part, you get the story. You have the story right now, but the biggest part it's by the full release, so you won't lose anything. You can play right now, so you have this the whole game by the end, and you won't have to replay it. You can keep your save and everything, and it will be released this year by I think it's by Q4 QA
Hmm.
Q4, and for we are trying to do for all platforms, PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and Switch. Uh, to be honest, we are happy to see the game on Switch. It's like a dream of every developer, I guess.
It's always good to see the games coming to Switch. Like that is almost that was going to be my next question. We always ask that because we're big fans of the Switch over at Shacknews. Everybody has one. We love play. It is the indie gaming machine at this point, and so that's great to hear. That's great to hear that that would probably be post launch plans is getting it onto other platforms.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. We have some. We are planning some updates. Probably some free updates like New Game Plus or something like that. We are going to talk to with Super, the publisher. Super.com is the publisher, and we are still going to talk with them. But we have these ideas for further releases, for further updates, and maybe we can try something, some expansion or something. If players really like the system, we could try different things. We want to hear the player at first, you know,
Hmm.
see how they are going to react about the game, what they like it, what they didn't like it, and then we can plan additional content.
That's awesome. And this was a question from chat, and one that interests me as well. The Brazilian indie gaming scene is actually pretty robust. Like people might not know, but there's a really good gaming scene in Brazil. Uh, if I recall correctly, the big festival is there.
Yeah.
Um, and I would like to know, are there any fellow Brazilian indie studios that come to mind? Are there any other fellow indie Brazilian games that you would like to give a shout out to?
Oh, that released game. There are a lot of Brazilian games. I think the last one from the guys from Joy Masher is Blazing Chrome. Blazing Chrome is amazing. It's an awesome game. We have the guys from Towerfall who do the art are Brazilian. Towerfall, Celeste. Um, there are a lot of games coming out. There is Retro Machina. It's a Brazilian game. There are a few projects I can't comment about it. I talk a lot to developers and they require some secrecy, but there are a lot of projects to keep in mind. But if you like to experience some Brazilian games, you have Blazing Chrome, Celeste. Uh, um, I forgot. I was going. It was on my head about Ninjin. Ninjin is also a great game.
Nice.
Uh, Override. About It's a huge mech fighting game. There are a lot of games you have to to try, but the Brazilian scene is very rich.
Yeah, and I know that Big they aren't able to do their physical presence this year due
So,
to the ongoing issues. But it's always such a fantastic festival of gaming. I can't wait to see if how they. I know that they're moving over to an online experience of some more sort, and I can't wait to see how that plays out. But but this has been a fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for coming on to talk to us about Alchemist Adventure. I would like to go ahead and give you the spotlight for a moment to let you rep where folks can find Alchemist Adventure, where they can learn more about it, any social plugs. Let us know where we can find out more about this game.
thank you, TJ. It was amazing to be here. And Big Festival will be back on January. If you want to come, it will be amazing. And first of all, I want to thank you for all for being with us, and the support of players as well. They have been amazing. You know, they write the incredible messages, and it's awesome. So if you want to know more about the game, we have all our social media. You know, we have you can type Alchemist Adventure, you will find it on Steam, you will find it on Instagram, Facebook, and all the social networks. It's on early access. It has some discount right now, uh, because the full release will have a different price. So you can buy it right now and have the full game. And the full game will be released this year for all platforms: Switch, PS4, Xbox One, and PC as well. It's a game about alchemy. I really hope you guys enjoyed this new vision of alchemy in games. it's it has been an incredible journey for us.
All right. Thank you so much, Leo. This has been TJ Denzer with Shack News. If you like what we do here at Shack News, be sure to give us a like. Be sure to give us a follow. Consider subscribing. You can do if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can do it for free. They give you a free subscription each month. Consider throwing that our way if you have it on hand. You can also find us over at shacknews.com, where we keep the site pretty much ad free, except for one thing: Shack News Mercury. You click on that cute little dog, and you can support Shack News for as little as $1 a month. If you give a little bit more than that, then you can find yourself with some nice little perks. You can also find us at Shack News Videos on Shack News Games on YouTube, Gamer Hub videos, Shack News on Twitter, and Shack News on Facebook. I would like to thank you one more time, Leo Batelli, for coming on to talk to us about Alchemist Adventure. Thank you so much, and I look forward to playing more of this game.
Thank you.
All right, and that is it, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. This is us signing out.